Hey folks, so just 2 days ago, Donald Trump decided to launch an airstrike against a Syrian base and essentially violate both current foreign policy or current law, U.S. law, as well as the United States Constitution. Um, this is one of those situations where Donald Trump is very much aware of the fact that he does not have the power to do what he just did. However, he decided to do it anyways. And I say that because in 2013, when the Obama regime decided to launch airstrikes in Syria based on essentially the same exact instances that are occurring on the ground now, he tweeted out essentially talking about the fact that President Obama needed to seek congressional approval. That in 2013, Donald Trump was absolutely correct. In order for us to strike another sovereign nation, we must first get approval from Congress. And our framers and our founders were very specific in all of their writings, as well as in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, that the sole branch of government that has the ability to declare war and acts of war is Congress. Now, once Congress declares the war, it is up to the president to essentially, see that war through and plan out the strategies and so on and so forth. But until Congress actually has a formal declaration of war, or at the very least an authorization of use of military force for specifically this reason, the president does not have the ability to launch airstrikes against the Assad regime, because Assad is the legitimate ruler of that country. He is the legitimate government for that country. So we're not attacking rebel forces or what we would consider terrorist forces in some area around the region. We're actually attacking a sovereign nation, and that is a completely separate issue from what we have been doing in the region in Somalia and Yemen and so on and so forth. We haven't been attacking the Yemenese government or the Somalian government. We've been attacking small forces within those regions. So this is not the same thing as what we have been doing thus far. Now, again, I am a constitutional conservative. I am absolutely furious at the idea that we just got drug into another armed conflict with another world government. And one of the things that we really have to be concerned about right now is that the Assad regime is backed by Iran. They're also backed by the Soviet Union, and the Soviet Union is the second largest nuclear force on the planet, and by expenditures alone, they rank number 3 in the world in terms of military force. So we are not simply, picking on Iraq or Afghanistan, some small, government, whatever, essentially a very easy armed conflict. We're attacking one of the major superpowers of the planet, or at least we're getting ourselves involved with potential armed conflict with those individuals. Now, Russia has come out and said if the United States decides to launch yet another attack against the Assad regime, they will respond militarily. So we are in a standoff situation right now, and this is precisely why these war powers were given to Congress, not the executive branch. It should never be the decision of one individual to drag 320 million individuals into a war. This is why the Constitution was framed the way it was. This is supposed to be discussed and debated and voted on the floor so that we make the wisest possible decisions, because military decisions, the decision to attack a sovereign nation, has a lot of unintended consequences. And if we are not sitting down and discussing what those unintended consequences are, and we are not weighing the pros and cons of an active military engagement with another country, then we can get ourselves into quite a bit of trouble. And this is something that I don't think the majority of Americans today want anything to do with. So it's no surprise to me that Kevin Yoder has come out in support of these attacks. Kevin Yoder has never been about the Constitution by any means. He is a big budget Republican, as well as somebody who really just has complete disregard for our Constitution. Really, the only thing that's Republican about Kevin Yoder at this point is the R next to his name. So he came out with 3 tweets yesterday, basically in support of this. This is one of those things, folks, that I cannot express enough how serious of a situation this is. and we could be setting ourselves up for another Vietnam, or at the very least, we could be setting ourselves up for another Cold War with Russia. So at this point, Kevin Yoder has made it very clear. He supports violating the Constitution and dropping bombs on sovereign nations illegally. He supports that, and so does Donald Trump, and so do a lot of Democrats and Republicans in office today. If you want this behavior to stop, we have to hold our representatives accountable, and in order to do that, we have to vote them out in November. You know where I stand on this. I stand with the Constitution. I'm on Team Human at this point. We have no business attacking other sovereign nations, especially based on hearsay. We don't even have the actual facts as to whether or not the Assad regime has, attacked his own people with chemical weapons. In 2013, it turned out to be rebel forces trying to get the United States to further back them and stay in the region. Assad's been winning the war. He's still been winning the war. He has Russia backing him. What strategic advantage does he have at all to want to carry out these attacks? The one thing that would garner further United States involvement in the region. We didn't think this situation through, obviously. So if you want change, if you really want to stop attacking all these other nations, if you want to stop spending the lives of young Americans, and you want to stop throwing away American treasure over these silly conflicts that we really have no business being in, then we need to vote these individuals out in November.